begin.
Is there any further business to be presented at this time?
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
I move to take from the table the motion that our FFA chapter purchases a new desktop computer and a printer for our FFA Public Relations Committee.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to take the motion from the table that our FFA chapter purchases a new desktop computer and a printer for our FFA Public Relations Committee. We will now proceed to a vote on the matter. All those in favor of taking from the table say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and taking from the table fails.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
I move that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure. The floor is now open for discussion.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 1.
I urge the floor members to vote in favor of this motion because going to state for parliamentary procedure is such a big deal as we have to advance from a section all the way to state. So I urge you to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 2.
I wish to speak against this motion as I don't think that we would have enough people interested in running or listening to this podcast. Podcasts are not a very popular form of information for people anymore, so I ask the floor to join me in voting against this main motion.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 3.
I implore the floor to vote in favor of this motion because I believe it would be a great way to educate people who don't know about Parley Pro and want to get started in it. So therefore, I urge you to vote in favor.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 5.
I'm in favor of this motion because I believe that by making a podcast for Parley Pro, it'll keep people well informed of the events that we're having and what we are going to and where we will be. So I urge you, the floor, to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 4.
I disagree with the previous speaker because as we have tried to do this in previous years, it did not work out very well. Therefore, I urge you to vote against this main motion. Question of privilege.
State your question.
Take off my jacket, it's really hot in here.
No, you're not. Official dress is required in our bylaws. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 2.
I move that we refer this motion to a committee of 5 appointed by the chair with the power to act.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to refer the main motion to a committee of 5 appointed by the chair with the power to act. The floor is now open for discussion.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 2.
I think that it's important to refer this motion to a committee because not all of us specialize in social media and internet-based platforms such as this, and I think it would be better for the chair to choose people that are more educated on this topic. Please join me in voting to move this motion to a committee.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 3.
I am against referring this to a committee because I believe this is something that needs to be discussed by the whole assembly to have more diversity in how we would create this. So therefore, I urge you to vote against this.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
on the contrary of Delegate 2, if we refer this to a committee, then the urgency and the funding may be lacked, so we're not able to afford this podcast. So I urge the floor to vote against this motion.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 5.
I am against this motion because I believe it should be discussed by the Parley Pro team and by people that are involved in Parley Pro and not by others that are not in said activity. So I urge you to vote against this.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr.
Parliamentary
Chairperson.
inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What vote does this require?
Referring to a committee requires a majority vote to pass.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 2.
I move to previous question.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to move the previous question. We will now proceed to a rising 2/3 vote on the matter. All those in favor, please stand. Thank you. All opposed, please stand. Thank you. The affirmatives have it, and moving the previous question passes. We are now voting on the matter of referring the main motion to a committee of 5 appointed by the chair with the power to act. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and referring to a committee fails. We are now discussing the motion that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 4.
I move to divide the question into 2 parts so that the first part reads, I move that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year, and the second part reads, I move that our FFA chapter sponsor a monthly podcast with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to divide the question into 2 parts, the first of which will read that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year, and the second of which reads that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure. It is not debatable, and since there are no more than 2 parts, it is not amendable. We will now proceed to a vote on the matter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and dividing the question fails. We are now discussing the motion that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Question of privilege.
State your question.
Can you open the window? It's warm in here.
No, you may not.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 3.
I move to postpone indefinitely.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to postpone the main motion indefinitely. The floor is now open for discussion.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 3.
I believe we have more pressing issues that need our time than this right now. I believe this is something that can be discussed at a later date.
Mr. Chairperson.
Delegate 1.
I am against this motion because if we do postpone it, then we aren't able to have that urgency in order to create interest for this project. So I urge you to vote against this motion.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 2.
as this current school year is coming to an end and we don't have many meetings or time to talk over the summer, I think that it's very important that we talk about this topic now so that if we do decide to proceed with hosting this podcast, we can have it ready by the beginning of the 2024-2025 school year. So I urge the floor to vote against postponing this motion indefinitely.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to a vote on the matter of postponing the main motion indefinitely. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and postponing the main motion indefinitely fails. We are now discussing the motion that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What kind of vote does this require?
A main motion requires a majority vote to pass.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
I am moved to lay this motion on the table.
second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to lay the main motion on the table. It is not debatable and it is not amendable. We will now proceed to a vote on the matter. All those in favor of laying on the table say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and laying on the table fails. We are now discussing the motion that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 4.
I am against this main motion because I believe we do not have enough diverse topics to go over in the podcast. Therefore, as you can see, it would not be advantageous to adopt this main motion.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 2.
I move to limit debate to 1 more argument per person.
second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to limit debate to 1 more argument per person. It is not debatable, however, it is amendable. Are there any amendments?
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
I'd like to amend the limit debate to 2 debates per person.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to amend limiting debate by striking out 1 minute and inserting 2 minutes per person, so that if passed, it will now read that each delegate has 2 minutes on this topic. It is not debatable. We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and the amendment fails. We are now voting on the matter of limiting debate to 1 minute per person. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and limiting debate fails.
Division.
A division has been called for. We will now proceed to a rising vote on the matter. All those in favor of limiting debate, please stand. Thank you. All opposed, please stand. Thank you. The noes have it, and limiting debate fails. We are now discussing the motion that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 3.
I urge you to vote in favor of this motion because I believe it's the morally correct thing to do to show people what parliamentary procedure is and how dedicated people are to this topic. So therefore, I implore you to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 5.
I'm in favor of this motion because it'll build responsibility amongst our members because our members will be the ones running the podcast. And so they must be informed on all topics and be able to present them clearly and wonderfully to our chapter. So I urge the floor to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
with having this podcast, as previous speakers have said about our FFA members having these opportunities, it also creates SAE opportunities for our members to either speak or present the podcast to other members and all those sorts. So I urge you to vote in favor of this motion, please.
Is there any further discussion?
Question of privilege.
State your question.
Can we adjust the thermostat? It's a little warm in here.
No, you may not. We're in the middle of a meeting.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote on the main motion that our FFA chapter sponsors a monthly podcast for the 2024-2025 school year with 1 month dedicated to the benefits of using parliamentary procedure. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Division.
A division has been called for. We will now move to a rising vote on the matter of the main motion. All those in favor, please stand. Thank you. All those opposed, please stand. Thank you. The ayes have it, and the main motion passes.
Mr. Chairperson,
Delegate 1.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. We will now proceed to a vote on the matter. All those in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the meeting is adjourned. Please rise for questions from the judges.
We're going to start with number 1. You had take from the table. If a motion is not taken from the table within the required time limits, what happens to it?
The motion dies.
Your second question. When may a motion that was laid on the table be taken from the table?
At the beginning of the before the new business, or at that end. So after all the business is discussed.
Number 2, you had previous question.
Yes, sir.
Name 3 undebatable, privileged, or subsidiary motions that the previous question can be applied to.
Limit debate. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. I don't know, I'm not sure the answer to that question.
Your second question, may a member conclude his or her debate on a main motion by moving the previous question?
No.
Thank you. Number 3, you had postpone indefinitely. If the motion to postpone indefinitely is pending and the main motion is definitely postponed, what happens to the motion to postpone indefinitely?
The motion to postpone indefinitely is killed.
Your second question, what is the effect of the motion to postpone indefinitely on the pending question?
It kills the pending question or till the next meeting.
Very much. Number 4, you had divided question. What 2 subsidiary motions can be applied to a division of a question alone?
Amend. And postpone.
Your second question, is an amendment applied to division of a question debatable? Please explain your answer.
No.
Can you explain your answer?
Can you restate the question?
Is an amendment applied to division of a question debatable? Explain your answer.
No, because there's no need to debate.
Okay. Number 5, you had withdraw a question. Is the motion to withdraw a motion in order when another member has the floor?
No.
What does it mean when a motion is said to be the property of its mover?
That since they made the motion, it's technically their property, those their thoughts.
Thank you. And last but not least, Mr. Chair, explain how the presiding officer would participate in debating a main motion.
The presiding officer, in order to debate a main motion, would have to relinquish the chair until that business has been disposed of.
Your second question, under what circumstance is a person presiding at a meeting addressed as Mr. or Madam Chairperson?
If they are the chair of that council or committee.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would ask that you guys leave your motion cards and your number cards on